Welcome to War Bios, the podcast where we delve into the lives of history's most fascinating military leaders and warriors. I'm your host, General Biography, and today we're going to explore the remarkable life of Menelik II, the legendary emperor of Ethiopia who shaped the course of African history. Born on August 17, 1844, in Ankober, a small town in the Shewa province of Ethiopia, Menelik's early life was marked by both privilege and hardship. As we journey through the formative years of this extraordinary individual, we find ourselves in the midst of 19th-century Ethiopian politics, where kingdoms and empires rose and fell like the shifting sands of the desert. Menelik's family background was steeped in nobility. His father, Haile Melekot, was a king of Shewa, and his mother, Wezero Echigayehu, was a member of the noble class. The young prince spent his childhood surrounded by the intrigue and politics of the royal court, where alliances were forged and broken with ease. Growing up in Ankober, Menelik would have been familiar with the rugged beauty of the Ethiopian highlands, where rolling hills and verdant valleys stretched as far as the eye could see. The town itself was a bustling hub of commerce and trade, with merchants and travelers passing through its gates from all corners of the empire. As a child, Menelik would have been exposed to the rich cultural heritage of Ethiopia, including the ancient traditions of the Orthodox Church and the vibrant folklore of the local people. Menelik's education began at a young age, under the watchful eye of his parents and the court officials who surrounded him. He was taught the classics of Ethiopian literature, including the works of the great poet and scholar Gebra Haywit Kadagnan. The young prince also received instruction in the art of warfare, learning the tactics and strategies that would serve him well in later life. In 1855, when Menelik was just 11 years old, his father, Haile Melekot, was defeated by the forces of Tewodros II, the emperor of Ethiopia. Menelik was taken captive and brought to the imperial court at Magdala, where he would spend several years as a prisoner. This period of captivity proved to be a turning point in Menelik's life, as he learned valuable lessons about politics, strategy, and leadership from one of Ethiopia's most skilled and ruthless rulers. As a prisoner, Menelik formed close relationships with several key figures at court, including the emperor himself, who recognized the young prince's intelligence and potential. Tewodros II saw in Menelik a kindred spirit, a fellow leader who shared his vision for a unified and powerful Ethiopia. Under the emperor's tutelage, Menelik honed his skills as a diplomat and strategist, learning how to navigate the complex web of alliances and rivalries that defined Ethiopian politics. The experiences of his childhood, marked by both turmoil and triumph, laid the foundation for the remarkable achievements that would define his later life. From his formative years in Ankober to his time as a prisoner at the imperial court, Menelik's early life was shaped by a complex web of family, politics, and culture. As Menelik ascended to the throne of Shewa in 1865, he faced numerous challenges, including rival claimants, internal power struggles, and external threats from neighboring kingdoms. However, through his cunning diplomacy, strategic alliances, and military prowess, Menelik managed to consolidate his power and expand his kingdom. He introduced modern reforms, such as the creation of a standing army, the establishment of a postal system, and the promotion of trade and commerce. One of Menelik's most significant achievements was his victory at the Battle of Adwa in 1896, where he defeated a powerful Italian army and secured Ethiopia's independence. This historic battle marked a turning point in African history, as it thwarted European colonial ambitions and ensured that Ethiopia remained the only African nation to maintain its sovereignty during the scramble for Africa. The road to Adwa was paved with careful planning and strategic maneuvering. Menelik had been monitoring Italian expansion in the region, and he knew that a confrontation was inevitable. He spent years building his military, modernizing his arsenal, and forging alliances with other Ethiopian kingdoms. When the Italians launched their invasion in 1895, Menelik was ready. The Battle of Adwa itself was a masterclass in tactics and strategy. Menelik's army, comprising over 100,000 soldiers, was largely composed of peasant farmers who were fiercely loyal to their emperor. The Italian army, on the other hand, was better equipped but outnumbered. Menelik exploited this advantage by employing guerrilla warfare tactics, using his knowledge of the terrain to outmaneuver the Italians and launch surprise attacks. On March 1, 1896, the two armies clashed in a bloody and decisive battle. The Italians were quickly overwhelmed, and their commander, General Oreste Baratieri, was forced to retreat. Menelik's victory was met with jubilation across Ethiopia, and it cemented his reputation as a brilliant military leader. The Treaty of Addis Ababa, signed later that year, formally recognized Ethiopian independence and established the country's borders. This treaty marked a significant milestone in African history, as it thwarted European colonial ambitions and ensured that Ethiopia remained a sovereign nation. Menelik's achievements extended beyond the battlefield. He implemented numerous reforms aimed at modernizing Ethiopia, including the establishment of a new capital city, Addis Ababa, which became a symbol of Ethiopian independence and progress. He also promoted education, healthcare, and infrastructure development, laying the foundations for Ethiopia's future growth and prosperity. From his ascension to the throne of Shoa to his historic victory at the Battle of Adwa, Menelik's legacy is one of courage, strategic genius, and unwavering commitment to his nation. As Menelik entered his later years, he continued to face challenges posed by European colonial powers who were eager to expand their influence in Africa. Despite these pressures, Menelik remained committed to maintaining Ethiopia's independence and sovereignty. He navigated the complex web of international diplomacy with skill and cunning, forging alliances with other nations and using his strategic genius to outmaneuver his adversaries. One of Menelik's most significant achievements during this period was his efforts to modernize Ethiopia's infrastructure. He invested heavily in the construction of roads, bridges, and railways, which facilitated trade and commerce and helped to stimulate economic growth. He also promoted education and healthcare, recognizing that a well-educated and healthy population was essential for Ethiopia's future prosperity. Menelik's commitment to modernization was not limited to infrastructure and social services. He also introduced reforms aimed at strengthening Ethiopia's institutions and promoting good governance. He established a new system of government, which included a council of ministers and a national assembly, and he encouraged the development of a robust and independent judiciary. Despite his many achievements, Menelik's later years were not without challenges. He faced opposition from some of his own nobles, who were resistant to change and resented his efforts to modernize Ethiopia. He also had to navigate the complexities of international diplomacy, as European powers continued to pose a threat to Ethiopia's independence. In 1906, Menelik suffered a stroke which left him partially paralyzed and unable to speak. His wife, Empress II, took on a more prominent role in governing the country, but Menelik remained the dominant figure in Ethiopian politics until his death in 1913. Menelik's legacy is one of courage, strategic genius, and unwavering commitment to his nation. He is remembered as one of Africa's greatest leaders, a man who defended his people against colonialism and secured Ethiopia's independence. As the Ethiopian historian Baru Zud once said, Menelik was a true statesman, a master of diplomacy, and a brilliant military leader. He was a man of great vision and courage, who dedicated his life to the service of his country. In conclusion, Menelik II's later years were marked by continued efforts to modernize Ethiopia and maintain its independence in the face of European colonialism. His legacy is one of courage, strategic genius, and unwavering commitment to his nation, and he remains one of Africa's greatest leaders. That's all for today's War Bios. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, I'm General Biography reminding you to keep marching toward victory.